Collaborative Writing and Teamwork. Dr. Catherine P. Fulford, Professor, University of Hawaii at Manoa. Revised from Hannah Omar and Chris Stark. Teams, the good, the bad, and the ugly. Now we're going to do a little exercise. What I'd like you to do is get a piece of paper and make 3 columns. 1, the good, the second, the bad, and the last, the ugly. Then I'd like you to write down how you feel about teams in all 3, the good, the bad, and the ugly. And then we'll check them against what other people say about teams. Stop the recording to do this. Okay, we're back. Let's see what other people said about the good. Collaboration helps create a better product. It helps everyone see things in new ways. You learn a lot from others. It multiplies talent. Synergy. 3 people can produce the work of 5. You make lasting friends. Yes, those are some very good points. It's great when a team works well. How about the bad? Too much socializing, not enough work. We've all experienced that. It's easier to fall into roles that you know rather than learning new things. And that's too bad, isn't it? Unless everyone knows the software, how to exchange files can be a nightmare. Boy, that's the truth in this modern world of technology. It can look like 3 products crammed together rather than one nice product. I've seen a lot of that as an instructor. It can get really ugly with differences of opinion and no compromise. If someone doesn't take charge, the work doesn't get done. Some people dominate, others do nothing. People won't say why they're unhappy. Different personalities and work ethics can be hard. Yes, there are definitely some bad and ugly things about teams, but there's also a lot of good. Let me see if I can show you how to make them better. Today we're going to concentrate on collaborative writing, the human element, staying organized, the written plan, and effective technology. Collaborative writing is the process of producing a written work as a group where all team members contribute to the content and decision for group functions. An instructional approach in which students work together to plan, draft, revise, and edit compositions. The human element. First, we're going to talk about stages of development, communication, brainstorming, This is the really nice stage. Stage 2, why are we here? People will clarify purposes, share values, but they'll also form cliques, and there is some risk-taking and questioning. And then when we get to stage 3, there tends to be a bid for power, competition, win-lose arguments, withdrawing, controlling, and criticism. By stage 4, hopefully things have developed to become more constructive. There's listening, collaboration, shared leadership, consensus, and group identity. So things are getting better. And by 5, esprit or esprit de corps is where we have creativity, trust, support, caring, openness, respect, and acceptance. And it's really wonderful when you can get to this stage. But remember, skipping stages may actually interfere with success. To grow as a team, you tend to have to go through all 5 of these stages. Communication. Remember to celebrate diversity. Discuss, recognize, and adjust to cultural differences. You will have them. Even when you think you're the same, that's not necessarily true. There are different cultures in different genders. There are different cultures in different places that you grew up, as well as different cultures in the ways of your family and the ways of your schooling. Technology is great, but you need some face time. You can either get together physically or online, but taking time to see each other's faces and having a little bit of fun never hurts with building a team. Allow everyone some airtime. Invite people into the conversation and ask their opinion. Be aware of your own body language. You can say a lot that you may not intend to say, but your body is saying for you. Use multiple methods of communication. If someone doesn't email back, call or text. You never know when systems might be down. Also in communication, get to know each other, but get down to business. That personalization is very important, so make sure to do a little at the beginning and then start to work. Exchange your contact information, emails, telephone numbers, schedules. That way you can text each other if you're going to be late. Discuss your strengths and weaknesses and what you want to learn. Challenge yourself rather than doing what's easy. Set up schedules for updates and revising drafts. Make sure you don't just sort of go with the flow. That can create problems at the end of the line when everything isn't done. Respond quickly to each other to avoid any delays. Always ask for help before it's too late. None of us mind giving help, but we won't if we don't know you need it. Disney's blue sky brainstorming might have been why he was so successful. He used these ideas for teams. Write down all ideas before critiquing them. Most ideas lead to others, so allow the ideas to flow. Don't ignore or rewrite anyone's idea, just write them all down. Avoid showstoppers, like "I disagree" or "what I think is." Use encouraging language, like "what do you think about this idea?" or "maybe we could." Use "we" rather than "I," and "our" rather than "my." Set a time limit for brainstorming, but don't rush it. Be sure all group members understand the task. Give everyone encouragement and opportunity to brainstorm. When brainstorming is complete, then you can organize, combine, vote on, and prioritize ideas. Try to give up being the glory hound and abandon your ego. Detach your personal feelings from your ideas. Help others achieve greatness. Be constructive and positive. Be open-minded. Some of the craziest ideas in history have turned out to be the best. To do good collaborative writing, it's important to define your roles. Here's some examples. First, divide up the task among group members. However, remember everyone is responsible for the entire project. Writers. Usually everyone in the group writes and revises specific parts of the project. You might have a project coordinator. This is somebody who coordinates the team, organizes the writing plans, schedules meetings, and reminds everyone about the deadlines. You might also have a graphics production manager who manages project design, illustrations, layout, hard copy, and presentation formats, and the printing of the final project if it's needed. You also might have an editor. This is somebody who proofreads drafts, edits, provides stylistic standards for the group, and uses stylistic conventions and formats. This person necessarily will need to do some rewriting. Again, don't let your ego get involved when your part may be rewritten. Stay organized. Save everything, all drafts and ideas. You may end up needing them later. Make a copy of your file and rename it to the latest revision prior to working on it. That way you can go back if needed. Agree on a file naming strategy. This can be critical for not losing important drafts. But avoid weird characters and spaces and have a dash or underscores instead. Here's a good example of a file name that includes the date and version, task, and draft person's initials. February 6, 2015, assignment 1, and then there's my initials at the end to show that I'm the one that did this draft. Now if somebody edits and adds to this draft, they can add their initials at the end. You might ask, why do you need a date when the computer shows you the date? Well, sometimes when you move drafts around, their dates change, and so it's important to have the original date on the file name. Use autosave to make sure you have the most recent work that you've done. You never know when your computer might crash. Then you can also duplicate the file or save as about every hour, or especially when you're about to make major changes in the work. You can mark as A, B, C, D of that same date to know which version was the first one. Multiple backups in multiple places is a good idea. I heard a sad story about a doctoral student whose house caught fire. She had backed up okay, but she hadn't backed up off-site. Now that we have the cloud, it's a good idea to back up that way. If you don't have a cloud account, you might consider just emailing yourself a copy. A hard copy is also a good backup. Make sure to have a written plan, a description of the final project, criteria for success. A content outline is a very good way to start. That way you all know where you're going. Contact and schedule information, defined roles for each member, assignment of responsibilities for sections of content, resources, platform skills, equipment, and software, a place to post your meeting notes, a schedule for finishing parts, and an editing and reviewing strategy. These are all important components of a written plan. Don't forget the production information. Don't wait till the last minute to think about this. Effective technology. Beware of converting data between versions, platforms, and programs. Try doing this in early versions to make sure that it's working. Use tools that enable all group members to communicate. Remember, not everyone has the same skill set, so when you agree upon a platform, make sure that everybody is comfortable with that. And make sure that everyone is able to use the online technology tools in the early stages of the project. I had a sad case one time where a group wasn't getting along, and it turned out that it was because one member didn't know how to use the tools, but she was embarrassed to admit it, so the project really lagged. When they called me, I suggested that they sit down face-to-face and have a talk. The minute they did, it was amazing how quickly the group was able to repair itself and help her with the technology. In other words, make sure to test your tools before you rely on them. Here's a team checklist to make sure that everybody is working at their peak. I suggest you go through it together in the beginning so that you know what's expected. First, reliability. Does this member attend all meetings, arrive on time, complete required assignments, meet deadlines, and stay until the task is finished? This is a really important aspect of teamwork. Sure, we might all get caught in traffic once in a while, but having this excuse over and over just won't cut it after a while. Motivation. Does this member express enthusiasm for the project, accept assignments willingly, show incentive in completing the work? Somebody who's a whiner or complains all the time is not fun to have around. Compatibility. Does this member listen thoughtfully to others' ideas, encourage others to contribute, build on others' ideas, allow ideas to be heard completely before eliminating? Are you one of those people that interrupts constantly? You may need to work on that trait and see if you can help other people come up with their ideas as well as your own. Involvement. Does this member contribute ideas, keep focused on the task, ask for and provide clarification, and know what's going on in the project? We all like members who are heavily involved. It makes our work easier. Initiative. Does this member think of and execute useful tasks without being asked? Help others to complete assignments? Help clear the way for accomplishing tasks? Don't you love people like this? Try to be one of those people. Flexibility. Does this member adjust to new production requirements, adjust to new ideas, adjust to limitations, and make sure that the job gets completed? You might come along with a few bumps in the road and have to change course from time to time. This can be difficult, so working through this in a flexible manner is very helpful for a team member. Creativity. Does this member make useful suggestions and contributions, help solve problems, synthesize ideas into a workable plan? This is a very useful trait. You don't necessarily have to be an artist to be creative. Coming up with useful suggestions is a really important way of being creative. Production. Does this member study the required materials to prepare for group work, demonstrate competent writing skills in assigned tasks, look up necessary references, and ask help when needed? There's nothing worse than getting to a meeting to find out nobody's prepared. It wastes a lot of group time, so it's important to be prepared before you get there, to have everything lined up and ready to go. Organization. Does this member of the team know what's expected as a part of the group? Bring necessary materials? Set to work in a timely fashion? Accomplish tasks efficiently and effectively? You might think of yourself as being unorganized, but that's really not acceptable as a group member, so you have to learn to be organized. You can learn each and every one of these traits, and it certainly is important to try. Overall performance. It's good to think about the overall performance of a team member. You might be good at some of the areas in the checklist, but not so good at others. So it's good to work on yourself and see if you can improve in all areas. That's all for today. I hope what you've learned will help make you a great and valuable team member. If you'd like to do more study on this topic, follow the links to these articles.